The fact that he knows that others can rhyme better than him is really
Westside Gunn's genius.
Go subscribe.
Hey, what's up, y'all? Welcome to Brews and Reviews. It's knowledge, and today I'm reviewing Westside Gunn, Hitler Wears Hermes, 8 Side B. That's a long title, and it's a long album. It comes less than a month after he dropped Side A, and Side A alone could be considered his best album. I'm still kind of deciding between that and Pray for Paris. I don't know quite which one is going to come out on top, but this, if you consider it a double album along with Side A, has the potential to be his best project ever. So while I'm not ready to make the call on that yet, I can give you 2 facts about this project. One is that Westside Gunn said some saying during Ye versus Drake battle, I had the best album, and I can say he definitely had the best album. Side A was much better than Donda and Certified Lover Boy combined. That is facts, no doubt about it. The second fact is that this is his last mixtape in this series. As the subtitle Sincerely Adolf suggests, it's a sign-off. It seems invoking the name of Hitler, the worst person in history, was for some reason messing with Westside Gunn's business relationships, and some people didn't want to associate with somebody who'd have a title like that, even though we know what he was doing. It was harmless. He was just trying to mix the ugliest thing he could think of with something beautiful. Hitler Wears Hermes, but this is the last one in that series. And fittingly, he kicks it off with End How You Start. If you had any doubt that this is a sign-off, this verifies it. And great businessman that he is, he's kind of expressing ideas from the classic business book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, which is begin with the end in mind. And while I like what he's saying, it does seem to go a little bit long. And if this is truly a double album, we don't really need an instrumental intro along with some spoken word and an almost 4-minute intro of him speaking, even though he's sincere and factual in what he's speaking. Hell on Earth Part 2, we've got a classic boom bap sound, and we hear this recreated a lot these days, but this beat demonstrates this sound at its finest. I almost expected KRS-One to start rhyming instead of Westside, or maybe even Prodigy, since the title is actually taken from Mobb Deep's great 3rd album, Hell on Earth. Interesting story on this producer too. Her name is Sovereign, and Griselda is such a beat warehouse that it's not enough to have Derringer, Monk, and Conductor in a basement conducting beats, turning them out on an insane level. WSG still is thirsty for beats, so he has to source beats from unknown young white girl fans to make these beats. Her profile literally says she was inspired by Hitler Wears Hermes 8, and she's really done nothing until this. This is a dope beat though, and I'm going to check out the rest of her stuff on SoundCloud, and she earns the coveted spot with the features from Conway and Benny on this, and they both deliver good verses here, with Conway addressing the picture of him wearing a dress and Benny saying, shoulda got a Grammy nod, but fuck it though, cause Royce and Freddie family ties. Frank Lucas video, the Miami vibe. This life crazy, every minute someone recording you. They ask me if I feel famous now. Of course I do. Free Cutter, we got a great verse from Jay Electronica here. And speaking of Donda, Jay Elec had the best verse on that project. Hands down, no one could compete. Jay Electronica, even over Jay-Z, which is ironic because Jay-Z had some of the better verses on Jay Electronica's album, but he got him there, and he delivers a great verse here, noting in a rare humorous line for him that this is their first collaboration between him and Westside Gunn. He says, Jay Elect, Griselda done finally entered the chat with that skirt all over the tracks. Richie's surprise, we got the great Mad Lib on the beat. And at one point, it was rumored that there was going to be an entire Westside Gunn and Mad Lib project that never came to fruition or hasn't yet. Maybe this is a track off of that, but it's just a taste of what's to come. They did release a little snippet of some work that they've done together, and this is just a continuation of that. Julia Lang is a marketing mogul for the fashion industry. Crazy how Westside Gunn gets these high industry types on his shit, and it's clear she's eager to hear the album, but she calls it Plan B at one point, which is kind of funny. And we got a nice beat from Camouflage Monk for Westside to spit on the rest of the track. Continuing the trend of naming songs after unsuspecting people, we got Celine Dion, and I really hope that she hears this track and puts it on repeat. In fact, I want to hear the Celine Dion Westside Gunn collab. And I believe that Westside Gunn could even make her sound dope. This is one of those patented Griselda posse cuts, fire beat for fire MCs to go back to back over. And we get two parts to this track, and the second part definitely has the classic Griselda piano roll, and maybe that's not the right term to say piano roll, but you know what I'm talking about. Anyone who knows the correct musical term for the piano or the keys that Griselda often features as demonstrated in this track, please let me know in the comments, because I'd like to know what that's called, but you definitely understand my point. You hear that a lot on Griselda beats. We've got a good verse here from Flea Lord, who may be the only one who puts out more projects than Westside Gunn, but between the two parts of these songs and the various MCs on it, I think Heem of Black Soprano family, of all people, actually has the best verse on this. Best Dressed Demons, this is a Derringer beat and comes through with another Griselda type beat, trademark, and that's an off-key sound that would be off-tempo with anyone else, but for Griselda it somehow works, and Mach-Hommy sounds really good over this style, and he's educating us here saying Elvis Presley stole Little Walter's flow, and I knew that Elvis bit black music, but I thought like Little Richard. I never really heard of Little Walter, but I looked further into this, and Elvis covered his track My Babe, and he also notes that the Rolling Stones stole Muddy Waters style, which I think is probably well known at this point. Mach also says, say the right name and explain the wrong meaning like it's rap genius. So now we know why he won't let his lyrics on there. He doesn't like the wrong meaning getting across. Forest Lawn. Forest Lawn is a famous cemetery in Buffalo. There's some famous people buried there, including Rick James apparently, and it hints Westside Gunn's words that I take these words to my grave, and by his standards, this is maybe his best flow on the album. Gunn doesn't stand out for his flow a lot, but I like how he switches it up here, and it matches the good verse that we get from 2 Chainz, and then we get more Lil' Kim reminiscent sounds from Amar'e Caesar. Why I do him like that? More of those Griselda keys over boom bap drums. And this feels like an introspective beat, and Westside, as such, tries to get lyrical. He says, why God so precise with firearms? Now you lying dying in your baby mommy arms. Billy Essco also has a great verse, making this one of the highlights on the project. R.I.P. Bergdorf, we get another Mach-Hommy guest appearance, so that makes a total of 3 with Side A and Side B combined from hands down the best collaboration of the year. In fact, I might throw together a little EP of Westside Gunn and Mach-Hommy collaborations because every time they come through, it's fire. Bergdorf being a high-end store, lyrically they are weaving together a very loose story about some sex and violence with all these fashion brands that are named after designers. Survivor Series 95, another posse cut, and Camouflage Monk sets the scene with the soundscape. I feel like there could have been a little more flow-wise with these guys on the track, but all in all, Jay Worthy has the best verse on this. Eddie Kingston, another contender for best collab duo of the year, is WSG and Rome Streetz, and Rome might just have the best verse on the entire album here. Dude's stock has grown so much this year, and I can't wait to hear his full length with Griselda. On this verse, he says, Candyman, it's murder when I arrive on the scene. Shit get dangerous, no famous shit became the fan favorite. These fools spittin' falsified flows, it's all flavorless. Got shit in the chokehold, give a fuck if I make your list. And right here, I'm gonna drink to this and introduce my beer. This is an Angry Scotsman. Save the date, Oktoberfest, a 6.2 Marzen. I will be featuring a lot of Oktoberfest in reviews to come over the next month or so. This is a great local beer from Oklahoma City, and let's get back to the album. Oyster Tag, named after the classic three-shooter from the Utah Jazz. This features the man who stole the show on Side A, Stove God Cooks. He may be saying that he's the Oyster Tag compared to Westside Gunn, which is maybe Karl Malone, and Conway or Benny, somebody like that, is John Stockton. But Stove God Cooks, he's out there getting the points. And this one was produced by Producer of the Year contender, yet again, the Alchemist. And after this verse, I just realized that a Stove God and Alchemist project should be the next collaboration for Al. We definitely need to hear that album. Munch, Conductor Williams coming through, making his first appearance, and he's also on my Producer of the Year list. He might not quite push himself over Alchemist, but Conductor's a contender for sure. And he uses the same Thriller video sample that he used on Mach's album. And we got a good verse from Westside Gunn and vocals from guest singer Tiana Denise. And I just gotta wonder though, why is this called Munch? He mentions later that he's got a homie Munch that died, but I'm not quite sure who that's actually referencing. 99 Averex Stove God feature again. He might be the best modern MC when he does his own choruses or does these guest spot choruses like this. We do have a surprise guest appearance from AZ also, who's coming off a good project, his return project, comeback of the year, Doe or Die 2. And actually, I think the track off of that with Conway was the best track on that project. And here's AZ on one of the best tracks on Westside Gunn's album. But Westside Gunn holds his own. He says, you ain't ever spent $250,000 in dope money on a painting. The Fly Who Couldn't Fly Straight, featuring the man who had the best guest appearance of 2020 on Westside Gunn's album, no doubt. And I'm talking about Tyler, the Creator. And he doesn't disappoint here. He comes through with the flows and bars. He says, if I was on that, get slimed out. Like egg yolk, I got some contacts that'll take your eyes out. Big Al, I like this piano beat from Danny LaFleur, who did a lot of tracks on Side A. And Rome absolutely owns this beat, making this track another highlight. And we get a nice homage to Doom from Westside at the end of his verse here. Side B, in some spots, feels like B-sides. But even B-sides are dope because we get to hear these Griselda type beats and curation of Westside Gunn and the various parties that he's bringing together, both beat-wise and lyrically. This is a man who is true to himself, knowing that his real talent lies in letting others shine rather than trying to get the shine himself. If he were about that, these projects wouldn't work. The fact that he knows that others can rhyme better than him is really Westside Gunn's genius. Rome Streetz, Stove God, Tyler, Mach, Conway, Benny, Heem, they're all the draws of this album, but Westside Gunn is the mastermind of it all. And in the end, it's his name on the front of the project. Still, as great as all those guest spots are and as great as the beats are, this does feel a little bit bloated because it has 20 tracks. And Side A had 13, and it was a perfect 13. And I think if you cut this down to 13, you might just have the perfect 26 track album. But here there's just a little too much, especially if you're going to listen to Side A and Side B back to back. Side B alone, I'm giving an 8 out of a 12 pack, but put the best songs together and we got a 10. Thank you for watching my review of Westside Gunn's Hitler Wears Hermes Volume 8 Side B. If you like this, go ahead and hit like now and hit me up in the comments. If you didn't like it, also let me know why in the comments. I drop hip-hop and hops related content consistently, so subscribe to my channel now. And until I see you next time, keep going.
Man says subscribe.
But if he's on his channel saying that somebody's album is better than mine, unsubscribe to him.
No, your album's the best, man.
There you go. Subscribe.
Yeah.
Subscribe.